Hello students, how are you all? I hope you are fit and fine at your home. Dear students, today we shall study history subject of 6th standard. In this subject, we are going to complete the 10th lesson, that is Ancient India Culture. In the last video, we have studied language and literature. In language and literature, we have studied Sangam literature, religious literature, treatise on grammar, arsh and classical epics, and theatre. Okay students, at the last we have studied narrative literature. Okay students, do you remember? Very good. Now we shall study further points. For example, 10.2 Life of People. But students, before moving forward, I would like to extend my thanks to my students, subscribers, and those who have shared it, liked it, commented below the video and subscribed my channel. Thank you students, and be connected with me to learn more and more. Now let's move forward. So let's start point number 10.2, that is life of the people. Students, first of all, let's try to understand what is life of the people. Students, what is life? Yes, life means not only live or being live, okay, but we need to do something to live or to survive in our life. Yes, do you know what do we require to do if you want to survive in life, in your life? Okay students, and what the people do to survive in their life? Yes, if you want to survive or if you want to live a proper life, we need to fulfill the basic needs. For example, clothes, food, home or shelter. Yes students, these are the basic needs that we need to fulfill if you want to survive in our life. Okay students, so here in the life of the people, all these things, for example, food, clothes, shelter and all other things are included. For example, what is important in our life? What do we eat? What do we wear? What kind of lifestyle we have? What language do we speak? Okay, what kind of culture do we have? Okay, then what is your food? All these things are included in our life. Okay student, so here we need to understand, or we are going to study the life of people in ancient period. Okay students, so let's start now. Students, in the ancient literature we can find the mentions of life of the people. Student, in ancient literature, for example, Ramayana and Mahabharata, these two great epics show the life of people. Okay students, we can understand what kind of life of people was there in ancient period through these epics. Okay students, as well as different Panchatantra stories also tells us about the life of people. So here the ancient literature shows us the traits of social life or life of people in ancient period. Okay, so we can say that ancient literature sheds light on the way of life of the common people. Those days were considered as prosperous. Yes, those were prosperous times. Yes students, do you know why those days were called prosperous? Yes, because of flourishing internal as well as foreign trade at that time. Yes students, in the previous chapter also we have seen that in ancient days the export and import were there. Okay, export of the spices, okay, then textiles were being done in the olden days, and because of flourishing the trade, internal as well as foreign trade, those were the prosperous days. In the last chapter we have studied Periplus of Erythraean Sea. In Periplus of Erythraean Sea, one of the port is mentioned, that is Muziris. Muziris was an important port that time, okay students, and that was used to export the things. What kind of things were exported that we have studied in the last video? For example, spices, ivory, then precious stones, pearls were being exported to Italy in Rome and some of the western countries. Okay students, so because of flourishing the trade, those days were considered as prosperous days. Students, one of the important thing of the ancient period was that it was, or the society was divided into castes. Okay, there was a caste system. Yes student, about it we have studied in the 4th chapter, that is Vedic civilization. In Vedic civilization we have studied that there were 4 varnas. Yes, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and the last one, that is Shudra. Okay student, so the society was divided into or among these 4 varnas. We have studied about it in the last chapter in detail. If you want to learn about it, watch the video of Vedic civilization. Okay students, I will give the link of this video in the description box. In the earlier period, a varna was determined by the occupation of a person. Yes students, note it down that a varna was determined by the occupation of a person in the earlier period of ancient age. Okay students, but afterward or later on, the varnas came to be determined on the basis of the birth now, the birth of a person. Okay students, and this gives rise to caste system. And the most important thing is that the caste system led to inequality in the society. Okay, have you understood this much? Very good. In the ancient period, we see there were various organizations. Yes students, at that time also organizations were there. Organizations of traders as well as organizations of artisans. Okay students, nowadays also we find various organizations are there. Organization of teachers, organizations of parents, organizations of laborers, organizations of the people who are working in corporate sectors. Okay, organizations of rickshaw drivers or auto rickshaw drivers, organizations of bus drivers. Okay, everywhere we see the organization. In the same way we find in the ancient period, there were also different organizations. For example, organizations of traders and organizations of artisans. Okay, students, the trade carried out by the sea route as well as land route. Yes students, in the previous video or in the previous chapter we have studied about the trade. Okay, we have learned while learning Periplus of Erythraean Sea. Okay students, so that time we have studied about the Silk route as well as Muziris port. Okay student, Silk route was used to export silk from China to other places. Okay student, from Asian countries to European countries. That route is called as Silk route. So through that route also trading were done, as well as one of the important port was mentioned in Periplus of Erythraean Sea, that is Muziris. From that Muziris port also spices, pearls, precious stones, all were transported. Okay students, have you understood? Students, Indian goods like fine textile, spices, ivory, precious stones, beautifully made artistic ornaments, artistic objects, all were in great demand at that time. One more important thing was in demand, that is earthen pottery. Okay students, in ancient period the main crops were rice, wheat, barley and lentil, that is masoor. Okay students, so all these crops were main crops, all these were included in the diet of the people. Yes, student, in the introduction I have told you that food is also included in the life of people. Besides this, meat, fish, milk, ghee, all these also included in the diet of people. Now students, let's have some information about clothes. Okay, in ancient period, people wore the clothes made up of cotton. Yes student, cotton clothes were worn by the people in ancient period. Even though clothes made up of silk as well as woolen also owned by the people. Okay, these clothes resembles dhoti, uparne, mundase and sari, etc. Okay students, one more important thing is here that the concept of stitching clothes were introduced in the period of Kushana kings. Okay students, remember it. The concept of stitching clothes was introduced in the period of Kushana kings. Yes, do you remember one important thing about Kushana kings? Yes students, if you remember, you can type your answer in the comment box that we have studied in the previous chapter. Yes students, let me tell you, for the first time, the coin of gold was minted by these kings only, that is Kushana king. So Kushana kings started minting gold coin. Okay students, so this is important thing. Now students, let's learn the next point, that is 10.3 medicine. Yes student, whenever we think about medicine in the ancient period, we do remember about Ayurveda. Yes student, do you know anything about Ayurveda? Yes students, have you taken ever Ayurvedic medicine? If the answer is yes, type answer in the comment box. Okay students, yes, then do you know what is Ayurveda actually? Yes student, can you tell me? If you know, you can type your answer in the comment box. Okay, Indian medical science is known as Ayurveda. Yes students, do not forget it. Indian medical science known as Ayurveda. Okay, Ayurveda is an alternative medicine system with historical roots in Indian subcontinent. Okay students, yes, do not forget it. Okay, the roots of Ayurveda are in Indian subcontinent. Students, it is the traditional Hindu medicine system in Atharva Veda. Yes student, Atharva Veda was the last of 4 Vedas. In Vedic civilization, we have studied about Atharva Veda. Okay, so here, which is based on the idea of balanced in bodily system and uses of diet, herbal treatment and yogic breathing. Yes students, have you understood? Very good. The word Ayurveda is derived from a Sanskrit word, that is Ayur, means life, and Veda, that means knowledge. Okay students, Ayur means life and Veda means knowledge. Okay students, so here it is Ayurveda. Ayurveda helps to understand the symptoms of an illness, diagnosis and treatment. Yes student, so here with the help of Ayurveda, we could able to find out the symptoms of an illness as well as we could able to diagnosis. Okay, what do you mean by diagnosis students? Finding out the symptoms is known as diagnosis. When we go to doctor, first doctor checks us, then gives the prescription. That checking is called as diagnosis. Okay students, after diagnosis, doctor starts treatment, okay, with the prescription. So here Ayurveda helps us to know illness, diagnosis and treatment. And also much thought has given to prevention of illness. Ayurveda also tells us how to prevent an illness. Yes student, in COVID-19 we have seen, actually ourselves we have experienced that people have been taking the Ayurvedic kadas. Okay, why they were taking kadas or why are they taking kadas? To boost our immune system. Okay, and the kadas are Ayurvedic. Okay students, So here it helps us to prevent a illness. Okay, do you understand now? Very good. Students, now we shall study about one of the important physicians of ancient India, that is Jivika. Yes, student, have you heard this name anywhere previously or earlier in the video? Yes, student, in the 6th chapter, that is Janapadas and Mahajanpadas, we have studied about Jivika. Yes, he was in the court of Bimbisara. Yes, student, do you remember? If you remember, you can type yes, otherwise no. Okay, yes, so he was in the court of Bimbisara, as well as he was the personal physician of Lord Gautam Buddha and the king Bimbisara. Okay, students, in the 5th century, he lived in Rajgriha, at the present day Rajgir. Okay, students, yes, do you remember Rajgir was the capital of Magadha? Okay, so here he lived there in Rajgriha. Students, do you remember in Rajgriha the first Buddhist council or Sangiti was conducted? Yes, students, yes, for the first time the Buddhist council was held at Rajgriha. Jivika was considered as or known as the king of medicine or medicine king. Okay, student, he was very famous. He was known as a great healer. So, student, he was famous as a traditional healer in Asian countries. Okay, students, have you understood about Jivika now? Yes. Now, students, let's learn about Charaka. Yes, students, Charaka was also a physician. Okay, Charaka had written Charak Samhita. Okay, students, do not forget, Charak Samhita was written by Charaka. Okay, and in this Charak Samhita, detailed information about clinical diagnosis and pharmacy has given. The period of Charaka was 100 BCE to 200 BCE. Charaka was one of the principal contributor to the Ayurveda, a system of medicine and lifestyle had developed in ancient India. He is known as the compiler of medical treatise, that is Charak Samhita. What do you mean by compiler? Compiler means the person who composed it. It was one of the treatises of classical Indian medicine and is regarded one among the Brihat Trayi. Student, Brihat Trayi means what? The greatest trio, the greatest trios of Ayurveda. What does it mean, student? So there were 3 greatest treatises on medical in ancient India, and among them Charak Samhita was one. Okay, students, have you understood this much? Very good. Now, students, we will move forward with Sushruta. Yes, student, Sushruta. Students, Sushruta has written Sushrut Samhita. Okay, and in Sushrut Samhita, he has discussed in detail diagnosis of different ailments and their remedies. Students, it's an important Sanskrit text on medicine and surgery. Yes, students, and one of the important things about this text is that it is one of the important texts on this subject, that is surgery. Okay, and to survive from ancient India or ancient world. It's also one of the foundational texts of Ayurveda alongside Charak Samhita and Bhela Samhita. Students, one more important thing I would like to tell you, that this Sushruta Samhita has translated into Arabic language and it is known as Kitab-e-Susud. Okay, students, do not forget, it is translated into Arabic language and that book is known as Kitab-e-Susud. It was translated in Arabic language in 8th century. Okay, have you understood about the Sushruta now and Sushruta Samhita? Okay, students, very good. Now, students, one more physician from ancient India, Vagbhata, had also written many medical books or many books on medical science. The Astanga Sangra and the Astanga Hridaya Sanhita were the most important of them. Yes, students, do not forget the names of book written by Vagbhata. Okay, that are Astanga Sangra and Astanga Hridaya Samhita. Okay, students. Now, one more important thing. The Buddha Bhikkhu Siddha Nagarjuna in his book Rasratna Kara described various chemicals and metals. Okay, student, have you understood? Yes, student. So here we had some information about the medicine in ancient India. Now, students, we will move forward with the new point, that is mathematics and astronomy. Students, you know what is mathematics, okay? But now here I am going to tell you what is astronomy. Yes, do you know about astronomy? Yes, what do you mean by astronomy? If you know the answer, you can type your answer in the comment box. Okay, student, do not forget it. Yes, student. So here astronomy means the study of sun, moon, stars, planets, comets, gas, galaxies, dust or other non-earthly objects or things or phenomena, or we can say bodies. Okay, student, have you understood? So the study of the non-earthly things are called as astronomy. For example, sun, moon, stars, planets, galaxies, dust, gas. Okay, have you understood? Very good. Students, the ancient Indians had studied mathematics and astronomy at a great depth. Indians were the first to use the numbers 1 to 9 and 0. Yes, student, do not forget about mathematics. Yes, here, student, for the first time in the world, Indians had used the numbers 1 to 9 and 0, as well as they invented the concept of decimal system, in which the value of a number changes according to its place. Ekam, Daham, Shatam. Okay, in this way. For example, in English, unit, tens, hundreds, thousands. Okay, have you understood? Very good. Students, the scientist Aryabhata wrote the book Aryabhatiya, which included many formulas for the mathematical operations. Okay, students. But here, first of all, we will try to understand who was Aryabhata. He lived in the era of Gupta, that is 476 AD to 550 CE. Okay, students. He was the first of the major mathematicians and astronomers from ancient India. His works included Aryabhatta and Arya Siddhanta. Yes, students, do not forget the books written by Aryabhatta, that is Aryabhatiya and Arya Siddhanta. Students, one of the important things about Aryabhatta, I would like to tell you that he stated that Earth revolves around sun. Yes, student, we know that Earth revolves around the sun, but who had stated it? It had stated by Aryabhatta. Yes, students. So he stated that Earth revolves around the sun. Yes, student, and that is known as revolution of Earth around the sun. How much time does Earth take to complete one revolution, students? Do you know? If you know, you can type your answer in the comment box. Yes, let me tell you, approximately Earth takes 365 days to complete one revolution around the sun. Okay, students, have you understood? Very good. Students, now let's learn about one more mathematician, that is Varamihir. The period of Varamihir was 505 CE to 587 CE. Students, he was an astronomer, polymath who lived in Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh. His main work is the book Panchasiddhantika. Yes, student, remember it, Panchasiddhantika, on the 5 astronomical canons, which gives us information about the 5 older texts which are now lost. This text had discussed the principles of astronomy. Along with the principles of astronomy from the Greek, Roman, and Egyptian civilization. Students, and one more book was translated into Arabic language, that is the book written by Brahmagupta in 7th century. Students, the mathematician Brahmagupta lived in 7th century. Okay students, have you understood? Very good. So we have studied about mathematics and astronomy in ancient India. Now we shall study point 10.4, that is centers of education, and point 10.5, that is art and architecture. Okay students, so let's learn these two important points, that is centers of education and art and architecture. Okay, so let's study centers of education. There were many famous centers of education in ancient India. Students from other countries also came there for their studies. Student, one of the important centers of education was Takshashila University. Students, let's have more information about Takshashila University. Takshashila was an important city on the ancient Indian trade route. Yes, student, on the route. Which was this route? This was the Silk Route. Okay, on that route it was situated. Today it is in Pakistan. Archaeological evidences found there suggest that the city was established in the 6th century BCE. Yes, student, here in the Pakistan, the archaeological evidences found. What do you mean by archaeological, students, here? If you understand the concept, what is meant by archaeological, then you can understand. The scientific study of a material remains such as tools, pottery, jewelry, stone walls and monuments of the past human life and activities. Yes, student. And here the evidences are found in Pakistan. Okay. Now see, Jivika, a contemporary of Gautam Buddha and a famous Vaidya, had studied at Takshashila University. Students, we have studied about Jivika earlier. Okay, and he was the contemporary of Gautam Buddha as well as King Bimbisara. Okay, yes, and he was the personal physician of Gautam Buddha as well as King Bimbisara. Okay, by the 4th century BCE, the fame of university had spread far and wide. Chandragupta Maurya, the founder of the Maurya Empire, was educated at this university. Students, we have studied about Chandragupta Maurya in the lesson, that is lesson number 7, India during the Maurya period. Okay, student. So here in this university, that is Takshashila University, Chandragupta Maurya had studied. The grammarian Panini and the Vaidya Charaka were also the students of the Takshashila University. The Greek historians who accompanied Alexander have also given a description of the university. Students, we have studied about Alexander in the 7th lesson, that is India during the Maurya period. Chandragupta Maurya had pushed him back. They have stated that such a university did not exist anywhere in Greece. The famous Chinese Buddha Bhikkhu Fa Hien, who came to India around 400 CE, also visited the Takshashila University. Students, we have studied about Fa Hien in the lesson number 8, that is States After Maurya Empire. Okay, students, the university had provided education in various subjects such as Vedic literature, Buddhist philosophy, and economics and logic, etc. Okay, students, have you understood here about Takshashila University? Now we shall study the next one, that is Varanasi. The river Ganga has two tributaries, Vara and Asi. Students, tributaries mean a branch or a river or a stream flowing into a larger river. Okay, so here Ganga has two branches, that is Varna and Asi. The city located between them came to called Varanasi. Since ancient times, it has had centers which provided education in the areas of Vedic as well as Jain and Buddhist philosophy. Okay, students, have you understood about Varanasi? So, now we shall study the next, okay, that is Vallabhi. Vallabhi was an ancient city in Saurashtra, Gujarat. From the 5th to the 8th century CE, it was an important center of Jain and Buddhist philosophy. Yuan Chong and Itsing, the Chinese Buddha bhikkhus, had visited Vallabhi. Okay, students? Now, one of the again important universities we are going to study, that is Nalanda University. Okay, the remains of the ancient Nalanda University can be found near today's Patna city in Bihar. Emperor Harshvardhana made generous donations to this university. According to the descriptions of Yuan Chong and It Singh, Nalanda University could accommodate thousands of students. Students, do not forget it. Okay, so here Nalanda University could accommodate thousands of students. It means that at a time thousands of students can accommodate or live at Nalanda University. Okay, the library stocked thousands of books. Okay, then students seeking admission to the university had to appear for an examination at the entrance gate. Yes, student, the student who wanted to take admission in the Nalanda University, he had to give or appear for an examination at the entrance gate of Nalanda University only. Okay, student, so such a great university it was. Okay, now we shall study the next university, that is Vikramshila University. This university was located near today's Bhagalpur in Bihar. It was established by a king named Dharmapal in the 8th century CE. It had 6 viharas, each having its own separate entrance. Now students, we shall study about one more university, that is Kanchi, or Center of Education, that is Kanchi. During the reign of the Pallava dynasty, 6th century CE, Kanchi in Tamil Nadu emerged as an important center of education. It was a center for the teaching and learning of Vedic, Jain and Buddhist texts. Yes, student, in the previous lesson we have studied about different dynasties in the southern part of India. For example, Pallava dynasty, Satvana dynasty, Chera, Chola and Pandya dynasty, okay, etc. Students, now we shall study point number 10.5, that is art and architecture. Okay, first of all I would like to tell you the meaning of art. Art means what, students? Do you know? If you know, you can type your answer in the comment box. Art is a work produced by human creative skill and imagination, or we can say simply a skill. For example, dance, painting, writing, singing, all these are skills or arts. In the same way, now I would like to tell you the meaning of architecture. Okay, architecture is the art and science of designing buildings and other physical structures. Okay, so we are going to study about it now. Indian architecture reached its peak during Maurya and Gupta periods. The stone pillars erected by Emperor Ashoka at various places are excellent examples of Indian sculpture. The stupa at Sanchi and cave sculptures at Udaygiri, Khandagiri, Karla, Nashik, Ajanta, Ellora, etc. show that the same tradition advanced even further. The art of making images was developed during the Gupta period. Temple architecture developed during the reign of the Chalukya and Pallava dynasties in South India. The temples of Mahabalipuram are a testimony to this architecture. The art of making bronze images of deities emerged during the period of Pallavas. The iron pillar at Mehrauli near Delhi is evidence of the advanced knowledge of metallurgy of the ancient Indians. Students, metallurgy means what? It is one of the techniques that we can make things with the help of metals. Okay, students, have you understood this much? Very good. Students, in short, I would like to tell you the meaning of stupa so you can understand. Stupa is a mound-like or hemispherical structure containing relics, typically the remains of Buddhist monk or nuns, that is used as a place or meditation. The other term for it is Chaitya. Okay, student. So here in Dadar we have Chaitya Bhumi of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Okay, students, have you understood this much? Very good. Students, so today we have studied point number 10.2, that is life of the people. In life of the people we have studied about the trade, clothes, then caste system. Okay, students. Then we have studied point number 10.3, that is science. In science we have studied medicine, mathematics and astronomy. And at the last we have studied 10.4, that is centers of education. For example, Takshashila University, Varanasi, Vallabhi, Nalanda University, Vikramshila University, Kanchi. Okay, student. And at last we have studied art and architecture. Yes, student, have you understood this much? Very good. So, students, today we have studied the 10th chapter, that is Ancient India Cultural. Okay, students. Students, if you have found it useful to you and if you have liked it, then like it, share it to your friends and relatives, and do not forget to comment below the video. Okay, students, at last, do not forget to subscribe my channel and press the bell icon so that you will get current notification of new videos. Thank you and be connected.